Happy weekend from Fextralife. If you've been too busy to keep up on the latest in the games we cover, or are looking for a refresher, we've got your back. Let's take a look at the comings and goings across the Fextralife Wiki Network.
Moving like a soldier.
Dark Souls 3 is releasing its final DLC, The Ring City, on March 28th, and the first gameplay footage of the upcoming DLC is now available for fans to scrutinize and theorycraft, much like we did with the announcement trailer. The DLC brings impressive areas to explore, with somewhat familiar enemies that are however altogether new, walking that narrow line between reminding you of the original Dark Souls and moving in completely unexpected ways. It's all spiced up with that persistent feel that Bloodborne isn't too far away from this realm. Spoiler alert! The trailer showed off the first area of the expansion and led players up to the first boss. For a full rundown of everything we know so far that's coming, check out the Ring City page on the wiki, which collects every new weapon, armor, enemy, boss, and more that was shown in the gameplay demo. The Dark Souls 3 Fire Fades Game of the Year edition will be available for sale on April 21st, bundling the base game and both DLCs for new players. There's much more info to come, so be sure to check back with us for the next month and a half. This week, we saw the long-awaited launch of Nioh, Team Ninja's Ninja Gaiden meets Dark Souls action RPG exclusively on the PS4. Similar to the Soulsborne series, the game is a challenging experience that has as much hidden as it has explained. To help navigate your first steps in the game, we put together a new player help guide and FAQ on the Nioh wiki. We also put together a great starting tips guide on the blog, so if you're just digging in for the first time this weekend, be sure to give it a look and keep it handy. There's a ton to see and do and learn in this game, and we're lovingly crafting the wiki to suit your needs. Check out the great videos we have for each one of the bosses. We also have a full walkthrough written for all of the game's main missions. Beyond that, there are plenty of content on skills, weapons, armor, online, skins, clans, and more. Basically, everything you need to plan your playthrough and beyond. DLC is also soon on the way and it will be bringing PvP with it among other content. Check out our review of the game. We really think the game snuck up on people's radars and has for us emerged as an early but strong contender for Game of the Year. With the release of Update 13 this week for the Elder Scrolls Online, players finally received the long-awaited housing option. While we could write a whole article in itself about this aspect of the update, and we did, we put together an article guide that looks at some of the massive changes to the game itself outside of housing. Tons of things changed, and we covered the major ones. Players who complete and turn in any higher tier writ for their trade now have a chance of acquiring a master writ as part of the reward. Cyrodiil vendors will change a few things about what they sell and how they sell it. First, Imperial City sets will now come with weapons and jewelry, and it's possible to barter for gold jewelry for each of these sets directly. Each alliance will now have a regional equipment vendor that sells zone bags of the alliance home zones. Besides the vendor changes, there are many updates to alliance point gain. ZeniMax has decided, and rightly so, to increase the amount of AP gained from various PvP related activities that aren't killing players. Every class has also undergone skill changes, and there are a lot of other general changes that come with the update. It's amazing how ZeniMax keeps improving their game with each new update. They've really turned what was an average game at launch into something phenomenal over the course of the past 2 years. We can't wait for the Morrowind update in June when they'll introduce a new class, the Warden. As always, keep checking with us for the latest in guides on what these updates mean for you as a player. Sony and Guerrilla Games have released some new Horizon Zero Dawn trailers showing off two of the game's machine enemies, the Snap Maw and the Thunderjaw. The Snap Maw is a crocodile-like beast and can be found in aquatic areas. It features a series of biting attacks with its sizable maw, appropriate to the monster's name, and can also use its tail. It is weak to fire damage and has a cryosac on it that can be exploited for significant damage. The Thunderjaw is a roving, lumbering dinosaur-like machine that is an all-terrain specialist. Its mouth is all business with bite attacks and mounted lasers it can use. It will also use its powerful legs to charge at you. Its weak part is its heart and brain, whose isn't, and its disc launcher can be knocked off and used against it. Horizon Zero Dawn is starting to look more and more like a mecha monster hunter. If it has half the depth of Capcom's signature hunting franchise, we're in for an action-packed treat. Horizon Zero Dawn releases February 28th exclusively for the PS4. In the meantime, you can check out all the skills you'll be using to bring these beasts down on the wiki. inXile Entertainment has released a new story trailer for their upcoming CRPG Torment Tides of Numenera. This epic cinematic story trailer recounts the lore leading up to the very moment that players begin their odyssey as the last cast-off, the flesh and blood byproduct of a megalomaniacal deity known as the Changing God. A billion years in the future, a man discovered a way to cheat death. All is not well though, as each time he left the body, a consciousness was left in its place. Initially embracing these cast-offs, he eventually became indifferent to them. Making matters worse is his cheating of death brought forth a force called the Sorrow, a being that seeks to bring balance by eradicating the Changing God and his cast-offs. As the last cast-off, you will begin the game hunted by the Sorrow, and it is up to you to bring resolution to this saga. Torment may be one of the most philosophical games to come along in a long time, and players are going to be faced with some interesting and dynamic choices. It releases on February 28th for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Activision this week confirmed what we already knew, that the Destiny sequel is still on track for release in 2017. We put together a long list of reasons why we think the game will release in fall of this year, and we stand by it. Check out the piece on the blog and share your opinions on the time frame. What we really want to know is what the game will look like. Rumors have swirled that the game will be more open and that the story may revolve around repelling a Cabal invasion. There are assertions that it will release on PC as well, and that Guardians will not be carrying over from the first game. We shall see. Until then, a spring update is in the works and we can likely expect it sometime in May. Regardless, it's going to be an interesting year for Destiny fans. Bethesda has released the announced patches from last week for Fallout 4 and Skyrim. Fallout 4 now has PS4 Pro support to the apocalyptic open world RPG. The updates for each also brought new features to mod content for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Players now have additional options for browsing the game's mods. Bethesda also rolled out the promised release of the game's high-resolution texture pack as a free download to the PC players. To use the high-res pack, you'll need 58GB of space available, and make sure your system can handle the recommended specs. And that's a wrap for the Weekend Wikis. We're looking forward to another great week of gaming fun. Don't forget to check out our VIP program for some exclusive supporter benefits, and budding writers should take advantage of our Become an Author initiative. Thanks for a great week, and as always, keep checking in with us for news, reviews, YouTube streams and videos, and general wiki goodness. Follow us on social media for all the latest and greatest. The more followers we get, the larger the army of the Fexes grows.